Good morning, guys. So our proverb for today, happy Friday to you all, is coming from Proverbs 14 verse 3. It says, "A fool's talk brings a rod to his back, but the lips of the wise protect them." I ask that the Lord bless our reading together today, guys, and we're going to jump now into the book. And we are on chapter 11 of the 5 love languages. We're talking about love makes a difference. Love is not our only emotional need. Psychologists have observed that among our basic needs are the need for security, self-worth, and significance. Love, however, interfaces with all of those. If I feel loved by my spouse, I can relax knowing that my lover will do me no ill. I feel secure in her presence. I may face many uncertainties in my vocation. I may have enemies in other areas of my life, but with my spouse, I feel secure. My sense of self-worth is fed by the fact that my spouse loves me. After all, if she loves me, I must be worth loving. My parents may have given me negative or mixed messages about my worth, but my spouse knows me as an adult and loves me. Her love builds my self-esteem. The need for significance is the emotional force behind much of our behavior. Life is driven by the desire for success. We want our lives to count for something. We have our own idea of what it means to be significant, and we work hard to reach our goals. Feeling loved by a spouse enhances our sense of significance. We reason, if someone loves me, I must have significance. I am significant because I stand at the apex of the created order. I have the ability to think in abstract terms, communicate my thoughts via words, and make decisions. By means of printed or recorded words, I can benefit from the thoughts of those who have preceded me. I can profit from others' experiences, though they lived in a different age and culture. I experience the death of family and friends and sense that there is existence beyond the material. I discovered that in all cultures, people believe in the spiritual world. My heart tells me it is true, even when my mind, trained in scientific observation, raises critical questions. It says true love always liberates, is what the bubble says. Okay, I am significant. Life has meaning. There is a higher purpose. I want to believe it, but I may not feel significant until someone expresses love to me. When my spouse lovingly invests time, energy, and effort in me, I believe that I'm significant. Without love, I may spend a lifetime in search of significance, self-worth, and security. When I experience love, it influences all of those needs positively. And we know as Christians, I know many of you on here are Christians, because this channel is Christian based. And if you're not, saved or have a relationship with Christ, I pray that you do get saved, and have a relationship, because that's the most important relationship that you'll ever have, But this book is a part of our commitment series, so I'm mostly reading, reading. But true love is found in Christ. Your significance and purpose is found in Him, if it's ultimately found in Him too, So I just kind of want to piggyback off, him saying significance in life has meaning, and then like with your spouse and different things, life has meaning in Christ as well. You have purpose in Christ. Love is in Christ as well, so I just wanted to say that. I know many of you know that, but for some of you that, didn't know, I just wanted to say, okay, so significant. Life has meaning. There's a higher purpose. I want to believe it, but I may not feel significant until someone expresses love to me. When my spouse lovingly invests time, energy, and effort in me, I believe that I'm significant. Without love, I may spend a lifetime in search of significance, self-worth, and security. When I experience love, it influences all of those needs positively. I am now free to develop my potential. I am more secure in my self-worth and can now turn my efforts outward instead of being obsessed with my own needs. True love always liberates. Sorry, guys. It's pretty early in the morning, guys. I'm still kind of sleepy, so just bear with me. So in the context of marriage, if we do not feel loved, our differences are magnified. We come to view each other as a threat to our happiness. We fight for self-worth and significance, and our marriage becomes a battlefield rather than a haven. Love is not the answer to everything, but it creates a climate of security in which we can seek answers to those things that bothers us. We're on page 143 for you following along in the book. In the security of love, a couple can discuss differences without condemnation. Conflicts can be resolved. Two people who are different can learn to live together in harmony. We discover how to bring out the best in each other. Those are the rewards of love. We're like roommates. When John and Susan arrived at my office, they had been traveling for 3 hours. It was obvious John did not want to be there. Susan had twisted his arm by threats of leaving him. I do not suggest this approach, but people do not always know my suggestions before they come to see me. They had been married for more than 30 years and had never gone to counseling before. Susan began the conversation. Dr. Chapman, I want you to know 2 things up front. First of all, we don't have any money problems. I was reading in a magazine that money is the biggest problem in marriage. That's not true for us. We both have worked through the years. The house is paid for, the cars are paid for. Second, I want you to know that we don't argue. I hear my friends talking about the arguments they have all the time. I can't remember the last time we ever had an argument. Both of us agree that arguing is fruitless, so we don't argue. As a counselor, I appreciated Susan's clearing the path. I knew that she was going to get right to the point. She continued, the problem is I just don't feel any love coming from my husband. Life is a routine for us. We get up in the morning and go off to work. In the afternoon, he does his thing and I do my thing. We generally have dinner together, but we don't talk. He watches TV while we eat. After dinner, he putters in the basement and then sleeps in front of the TV until I tell him it's time to go to bed. That's our schedule, 5 days a week. On Saturday, he plays golf in the morning, works in the yard in the afternoon, and we go out to dinner with another couple on Saturday night. He talks to them, but when we get into the car to go home, the conversation is over. On Sunday morning, we go to church, and so on. We're like 2 roommates living in the same house. There's nothing going on between us. I don't feel any love coming from him. There's no warmth, there's no emotion. It's empty, it's dead. I don't think I can go on much longer like this. By that time, Susan was crying. I handed her a tissue and looked at John. His first comment was, I don't understand her. After a brief pause, he continued, I have done everything I know to show her that I love her, especially the last 2 or 3 years since she's been complaining about it so much. Nothing seems to help. No matter what I do, she continues to complain that she doesn't feel loved. I don't know what else to do. I could tell that John was frustrated and exasperated. I inquired, what have you been doing to show your love for Susan? Well, for one thing, he said, sorry guys, it looked like it just kind of went out. Okay, well, for one thing, he said, I get home from work before she does. So I get dinner started every night. In fact, if you want to know the truth, I have dinner almost ready when she gets home 4 nights a week. The other night we went out to eat. I do all the vacuuming because her back is bad. I do all the yard work because she is allergic to pollen. I fold the clothes when they come out of the dryer. He went on telling me other things that he did for Susan. When he finished, I wondered, what does this woman do? The bubble says, I want him to talk to me about us, about our lives. Okay, John continued, I do all those things to show her that I love her, yet she sits there and says to you what she has been saying to me for 2 or 3 years, that she doesn't feel loved. I don't know what else to do for her. When I turned back to Susan, she said, Dr. Chapman, all of those things are fine, but I want him to sit and talk to me. We don't ever talk. He's always doing something. I want him to be with me, give me some time, look at me, talk to me about us, about our lives. Susan was crying again. It was obvious to me that her primary love language was quality time. She was crying for attention. She wanted to be treated as a person, not an object. John's busyness did not meet her emotional needs. As I talked further with John, I discovered that he didn't feel loved either, but he wasn't talking about it. He reasoned, if you have been married for 35 years and your bills are paid and you don't argue, what more can you hope for? That's where he was. But when I said to him, What would be an ideal wife to you? If you could have a perfect wife, what would she be like? He looked me in the eye for the first time and asked, do you really want to know? Yes, I said. He sat up on the couch and folded his arms across his chest. A big smile broke his face, and he said, I've dreamed about this. A perfect wife would be a wife who would come home in the afternoon and fix dinner for me. I would be working in the yard, and she would call me in to eat. After dinner, she would wash the dishes. I would probably help her some, but she would take the responsibility. She would sew the buttons on my shirt when they fall off. Susan could contain herself no longer. She turned to him and said, but you told me you like to cook. I don't mind cooking, John responded, but the man asked me what would be ideal. I knew John's primary love language without another word, acts of service. In his mind, that was the way you show love, by doing things for people. The problem was that doing things was not Susan's primary love language. It did not mean to her emotionally what it would have meant to him if she had been doing things for him. When the truth dawned on John, the first thing he said was, why didn't somebody tell me this years ago? I could have been sitting talking to her 15 minutes every night instead of doing all this stuff. He turned to Susan and said, for the first time in my life, I finally understand what you mean when you say we don't talk. I could never understand that. I thought we did talk. I always asked, did you sleep well? I thought we were talking, but now I understand. I'll give you 15 minutes every night for the rest of my life, starting tonight. You can count on that. Susan looked at John. I would love that. And, she continued, I don't mind fixing dinner for you. It will have to be later than usual because I get off work later than you. I don't mind cooking, and I'll be happy to sew your buttons on. You never left them off long enough for me to get to them. I'll wash dishes the rest of my life if it will make you feel loved. Susan and John went home and started loving each other in the right love languages. In less than 2 months, they were on a second honeymoon. After a trip to the Bahamas, they called to tell me what a radical change had taken place in their marriage. Can emotional love be reborn in a marriage? You bet. The key is to learn the primary love language of your spouse and choose to speak it. And then here's your turn on page 147. What does your spouse do to make you feel more significant? How about what you do for them? And that's the end of this chapter for today. It was pretty short. Tomorrow we're going to talk about loving the unlovely, Lord's will. That's chapter 12. Tomorrow, Lord's will, in the morning, I'm going to try to come on early so we can do that. And then Monday, let me go back to the contents. Monday, we're going to, between Monday and Tuesday, Lord's will, we're going to break down chapter 13. It's talking about a personal word, frequently asked questions. They have the 5 love languages profile for couples, one for her and for him, and then it's notes. So we'll do that between Monday and Tuesday, Lord's will. We're going to break it down. And this is what we've read so far. We've read acknowledgments through chapter 11, which we just read today. And here are the 5 love languages collection. You guys can visit that website for more books, resources, and to take the quiz. It's 5lovelanguages.com. And you guys, thanks for tuning in and joining. God bless, and y'all have a beautiful day.